Hi folks, hope you're okay. We're looking at this, and we're looking at the historical reliability of the Old Testament. It's quite technical stuff, but if you've got intellectual questions about Christianity and the Bible, these things will be a help to you. Christianity is not anti-intellectual, and we seek to answer your questions, and we're looking at the scholarship behind the historical reliability of the Old Testament. Now, this is a very popular book. It's made for easy reading, but I can honestly say, and I know my stuff, I know the scholars, okay? Even though this is a popular book, Josh McDowell, Evidence to Advance the Verdict, I can tell you this, that Josh McDowell is using top academic scholarship. When he's writing things, he's using the best scholars in the field. This is no popular slapdash book. A lot of atheists have attacked this book, made videos about this book, and have attacked it mercilessly and tried to discredit this book. But if you know anything about biblical studies, and if you've studied, and I've studied at 2 seminaries for at least 10 years, theological seminaries, right? So I know what I'm talking about. I studied under the best professors and theologians in our country, in the United Kingdom. And I can tell you that this book, though it's a popular book, is based on the best scholars in their field. So it's a very, very good book, okay? The atheists that are attacking this book on the internet are not trained in any biblical scholarship. Most of the atheists who make videos attacking this book are not trained in theology to say what I just told you. They're not qualified to tell you. Alright? I'm qualified. Alright? Okay, page 73, the history of the Old Testament text. Rabbi Akiba, 2nd century AD, with a desire to produce an exact text, is credited with saying that the accurate transmission of Mazareth of the text is offense for the Torah. Harrison. Excuse me. In Judaism, a succession of scholars was charged with standardizing and preserving the biblical text, fencing out all possible introduction of error. The Sepharim, from Hebrew meaning scribes, were Jewish scholars and custodians of the text between the 5th and 3rd century BC. The Zugoth, pairs of textual scholars, were assigned to this task in the 2nd and 1st century BC. The Tannaim, repeaters or teachers, were active until AD 200. In addition to preserving the Old Testament text, the work of Tannaim can be found in the Midrash, textual interpretation, the Tosefta edition, and the Talmud instruction, the later of which is divided into the Mishnah repetitions and the Gemara and the matters to be learned. The Talmud gradually was compiled between AD 100 and AD 500. It was natural that the Tannaim was preserved in the Hebrew Bible, since their work had to do with compiling several centuries of rabbinic teaching based on the biblical text. The Talmudists, AD 100 to 500, Geisler and Nix, explained the second scribal tradition extending from about 400 BC to almost AD 100. Following the first period of Old Testament scribal tradition, the period of the Sepharim, 400 BC to AD 200, there appeared a second, the Talmudic period, AD 100 to 500, which was followed by the better known Masoretic tradition of 500 to 950. Ezra worked with the first of these groups, and they were regarded as the Bible custodians until after the time of Christ. Between AD 100 and 500, the Talmud instruction teaching grew up a body of Hebrew civil and canonical law based on the Torah. The Talmud basically represents the opinion and decisions of Jewish teachers from about 300 BC to AD 500, and it consists of 2 main divisions, the Mishnah and the Gemara. Scholar Geisler. During this period, a great deal of time was spent cataloguing Hebrew civil and canonical law. Talmudists had quite an intricate system of transcribing synagogue scrolls. Sir Frederick Kenyon says, thus, far from regarding an older copy of the scriptures as more valuable, The Jewish habit has been to prefer the newer as being the most perfect and free from damage. That's just the philosophy of transmitting text. Samuel Davison describes some of the disciplines of the Talmud in regard to the scriptures. These minute regulations I am going to use, the numbering incorporated by Geisler, are as follows. Number 1. A synagogue roll must be written on the skins of clean animals. 2. Prepared for the particular use of the synagogue by a Jew. 3. These must be fastened together with strings taken from clean animals. 4. Every skin must contain a certain number of columns equal throughout the entire codex. 5. The length of each column must not extend over less than 48 or more than 60 lines, and the breadth must consist of 30 letters. 6. The whole copy must be first lined, and if 3 words be written without a line, it is worthless. 7. The ink should be black, neither red. Ink should be black, neither red, green, nor any other colour, and be prepared according to a definite recipe. 8. An authentic copy must be the exemplar from which the transcriber ought not in the least deviate. 9. No word or letter, not even a yod, must be written from memory, the scribe not having looked at the codex before him. 10. Between every consonant, the space of a hair or a thread must be... Between every consonant, the space of a hair or thread must intervene. Between every new parashash or section, the breadth of 9 constants. 12. Between every book, 3 lines. Number 13. The 5th book of Moses must terminate exactly with a line, but the rest need not do so. 14. Beside this, the copyist must sit in full Jewish dress. 15. Wash his whole body. 16. Not begin to write the name of God with a pen newly dipped in ink. 17. And should a king address him while writing the name, he must take no notice of him. Davison adds that the rolls in which these regulations are not observed are condemned to be buried in the ground, or burned, or they are banished to the schools to be used as reading books. The Talmudists were so convinced that they were finished transcribing a mess they had an exact duplicate that they would give the new copy equal authority. That shows you how careful these early Jewish people were when it came to writing out manuscripts, copies of the Old Testament. So we can be pretty sure that the Old Testament that we have is what was at the beginning. Alright.